rusty wheels and knew I'd take her home. I brought her to my farm in an Amish neighborhood where simple living's valued. She'd be loved and understood. I put her on a treadle stand and coaxed her wheel to turn. I felt her joy and easing with my study and concern. I cleaned her and I oiled her, showed her off to all my friends, repaired the hurts of years, and let her sow again.
Hello everybody, welcome back. So I am going to get started working on this little 28. I believe it's a 28. And I'm just got her in, and you can see she's a rusty, crusty girl. So what I plan on doing is spraying her down with a good coat of my brand new penetrating oil. We're trying this one out. You know, not a sponsor at all. But I'm going to spray this all over her tonight. You know what? I don't think I need this. And let her soak, and so that tomorrow I can actually do a little bit more. So I should probably shake it up first. We're going to make her original. We are going to be stripping her down, putting the as close to original decals as we can on her. I think something must have been living in there. I'm going to get a vacuum and vacuum that stuff out. Hoping it's still not in here somewhere. We will see, won't we? But let me get that cleaned out, vacuumed out, and then I'm going to spray her down. I don't want to lubricate all the little droppings there. Okay, I just pulled her out of the base. I'm going to be cleaning this base up, but in general, I think it's kind of intact. It's just filthy. So that's going to be a separate little project. But here is the machine. Okay, so here we go. Interesting stuff. Just gonna work it in maybe. Okay, and I'm going to see if I can open up her nose here and get that coated inside. So let's see how this bit might work. Okay, so here's the first little screw. Goodness, start losing things. Got my little magnet dish here. And I'm going to take off the bottom one. All right, let's see what happens. Well, it's not as bad as I thought. I'm going to go ahead and spray it down in there too. And I'll work it in with my little brush. All up here. I'm going to go ahead and open up this back plate right here too. Spray in there, spray everywhere, spray underneath, spray in here. And then we will be back tomorrow and we'll get started taking her apart. Okay, so I just got done spraying her, you know, opened her plates, put oil in. Literally, it's just been a few minutes. And she did turn before, but very stiffly. But, check it out. She is cranking. So, I don't know if it's the penetrating oil or what, but she's definitely loosened up a lot. So, I have a lot of hope for her. I think it's going to go really well. And I am tempted to go ahead and get started taking her apart now because she's moving so well. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to go ahead and take off the bobbin winder, just so I can get it out of the way. There's a little screw right here I'm aiming for, and that is coming off. Now this is a bobbin winder that is running on the hand wheel. It's got a big hand crank on it, so I'm going to need to get a large tire for it, larger than the standard ones that they sell. So I'll let you know when I find one for that, because, you know, that won't even come off at this point. So let me go ahead and put this in its little baggie with more oil on it and go on to the next. Okay, this is a hand crank, and it has the original hand crank on it, which is nice. So I'm going to go ahead and get that removed also. Hopefully I have not sprayed this one. All right, so let's let that sit for a little bit. This stuff is thick. It comes out almost like snot, you know. It doesn't smell terrible. It smells strong, but not terrible. But we'll come back to that one in a minute. All right, I've decided I'm just going to call it a night. So I am putting lubricant all over all kinds of things here, and I will see you in the morning. Okay, good morning. This morning we're going to work on taking this bad girl apart. I sprayed her down last night, and I think that it's done good because she seems to be moving pretty well. So let's see. The last thing I think I was going to try to do is take off this hand crank here, so let me see if I can loosen up that screw. Well, she did require the use of the little ratchety crank here, but we are cutting loose now, so let me go ahead and get this pulled off so I can remove the hand crank. So now this is coming off. It's lovely, it is the original, so we love that. This is all going to get stripped down and everything, so I'm just going to set that aside because I have more work to do on it. At this point, she's kind of like a regular 28, the big spoked wheel, love that. So let me flip her up and try to start taking out the nose. Actually, yeah, I'm going to start to try to get this stuff out. Let me see if it's possible to get the needle out because I don't want to stab myself. It's very sticky in there. And I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a separate video on the bobbin winder and a separate video on the hand crank. Just so it's easier if someone's looking for those two components individually, you know, it'll be easier to find. So yes, I will show taking them apart, but not right at this point. So here's a nasty little needle. That's going to go away. On the back here, there is a little screw right here that's holding on this thread guide, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that. Now this is really, really nasty here, so before I can even get to the slot in that screw, I'm just going to clean it up some. That should make it easier. Okay. Nope, not that one. Okay. Okay. I have a feeling every single screw on this machine, it's gooey, but it's also rusted, so it's a combination of stuff. So we're just going to take it slow and one screw at a time. Okay, there you go. All right. While I'm down here, I'm going to, ooh, I did not want to come up, try to take off this presser foot. Okay. All right. So now, you know what, while I'm here, if I can, I want to deal with the tension. That's interesting. Okay. Okay. So now that has come off, which is good. That's stuck. Okay. So right about here, I got tired of talking, as you'll see. So I just kept recording and kept silent. But I wanted to tell you something about this machine. First of all, it's pretty unusual in that, first of all, it has a serial number that nobody I know of has ever seen before, which starts with an asterisk. Could be an X with a line through it. I don't know. I will superimpose a picture of it. You be the judge. I don't know anything about that. Also, we are guessing that this is from about 1902. Guessing that it was made in 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞. Dog chasing my cat. And I have a little bit of information about the origin of this machine from the owner. So this is from an email from the owner, actually the owner's husband, but he says, she likely started with my wife's great-grandmother in Spakenburg, Netherlands to start, later passed on to her grandmother upon a move to the Valdivia area of southern Chile in the mid-1910s. Her last move to Central California would have been in the mid-1920s, where she ended up with my wife's mother in Hanford, California, from the early 1960s to 2016, at which point she came to live with my wife. So there you go. This machine has been all over the world. Gonna let that sit a little longer. Okay, let's try to take out the needle bar. Okay, so that was disassembling this machine. Wow. Wow, she gave me a fight, but you know, we're good. I leave this in. This cannot be removed unless you remove the main shaft. I do not remove the main shaft. Honestly, if I get a machine and the main shaft is toast, I don't use it. I just don't use it. So I'm going to go ahead and get my stripper tank heating up so that once it's hot, I can put this in and her assorted parts overnight. Honestly, I need a break. I need to run into the house, get a cup of coffee or something before I get started on that. So I hope this was helpful. Hope you can see that sometimes it takes like a whole bunch of different trials of things. This was a pistol. I mean, oil, heat, impact gun, impact screwdriver, a whole lot of everything. And I don't think that the little screw is chowdered up beyond use. If so, you know, I do have an extra one of those, so that's not a big deal. So I think that that's going to be fine. So this is a large tire that is turned to concrete and is really glued on there. So yeah, that's going to need to come off. I found these on, what was it? It's like vintagesingerparts.com or something. I'll try to link it because they're not the usual size. But I'm going to get a little chisel and just chisel this stuff off because it's not going to come off easily. All right. And this is just a little set of, you know, little cheap import chisel or carving blades. They come in handy for different things. So you can see this is just coming apart, so I'm going to take my time and get that off. I think that's good enough for now. I can put a solvent or something on it later to try to dissolve what is left, but that should be good. Okay. What I want to do is grab a few things here. Okay, so starting on the front here, I'm going to put my tip in there. And, oh yay, this came loose. Okay. Screw. On the back, there's a little nut. This is a stubborn nut. I'm going to have to put some penetrating oil in that. Okay, I think I got it here. It did not want to budge. And it's still not moving freely, but it is moving. And it's a hard size because it's like smaller than a 1/4 inch, and it's square, but it's really, really close over here, so you can't get a big wrench in there. It's just very pesky. Okay, so there's that little nut. Should be able to just push it out. Let me see if I can unscrew this. Just wiggling it back and forth to try to free it up. There it goes. There's a washer back here. Okay. And then this little screw comes off. Okay. This cog comes off. There's that. So now this is as taken apart as I want it to be. It looks like this was not painted. I don't think this was painted. I think it was just polished metal. But you know what? I'm going to throw it in my stripper anyway. Just because my stripper, it's very hot, oily, everything, and it works like a total spa treatment for everything that goes in there. So it can't hurt to put this in there and clean all of these parts up. So, oh my goodness, I had a piece of a tin. So I am going to be taking apart this hand wheel. It is for a old 28 that I am completely restoring. And this is an original hand wheel. It's not a little import, which is very nice to see. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I'm going to do is take off the screws to this outside cover here. Okay, so now pull that off. That's going to get stripped and painted. And let's see how hard it will be to get this gear out of here. Change this. Big shoulder bolt. And this. Now, this is on a pin. This is how it should be during operation. This folds down for during travel and storage, okay? I need to tap out this pin over here. This is wooden. I'm going to clean that up. This is going to get stripped and painted. I need to take these 2 screws off this bracket. I'm going to leave this wool. I'm not going to try to pull it apart. I think it's one big cast piece, but I'm not sure. It almost looks brass up there. Okay, so this is going to get stripped. This, and this. So usually I skip the video on all of this stuff, but I want to show you how I strip my machines. Okay, so here is my tank. This is actually an Amish-made canner. I got it at Lehman's. Very good quality. And this is a heater for a 55-gallon drum, okay? And inside here is my stripper. It is Power Strip. You ever just Google Power Strip, that's it. It's a cool thing. So, I just plugged this in so it needs to get warm. What I do is I'm going to put my machine in, and I have a wire on the top just so it's easy for me to reach in and grab it. Okay, so there's that, and then I have a little charm bracelet here full of all of my other accessories on a big wire. Okay, and that is just going to go over here, at the end of the wire in the corner over there, so that I can grab it easily. So now that that stuff is in there, I am going to put the lid on, and then just so that heat doesn't escape and everything, I'm going to put a little blanket over. Okay, make sure she's tucked in well for the night. And some machines take longer than others. I'll probably check her in a few hours, but if it looks like things are really stubborn, and with her condition it could be, I might just leave her overnight. It won't hurt anything if I do. What I want to show you is this is the container I get my stripper in. I buy a lot at one time, and that is the stuff. It comes on a semi delivers it to the house, but you can reuse it over and over and over. And, I've only got like 5 gallons in there, and this is a 30-gallon tank. And I haven't had to refill it yet, and I've done mini machines. So that's the stuff. Hello, everybody. I wanted to go through just cleaning the hand crank and cleaning the bobbin winder. And once you've seen that, you'll get the idea. So, ultrasonic cleaner, cheapy cleaner, it works. And everyone uses different stuff. What I use is a mix of Purple Power and water. About half and half. And that's pretty good. Actually, I don't even use this basket. Just kind of store it in there. So I have about a ½ inch or so of Purple Power in there. I'm going to go get water and add about the same amount. Okay, so I am going to set this aside and plug it in over there. But, just giving you a quick, just rip my glove, little cap of what I do. First of all, for little screws that I don't want to lose in here, I have a little jelly jar. And I don't even use the lid. I just kind of set it in there. Just ignore the foam, it'll die away. But when I do a section of parts and I keep everything, you know, by components separated. So let me get a little dish here, dump everything out. This is the hand crank. So first of all, the handle, I'm not putting the wood in there. I'm going to take this off. Ooh, it looks like it was hammered on with a pin. I will do something different with this. This is not going into the water. All right. But for the smaller screws and things, I put some of the liquid in my little jam jar, and I put all of these little screws in that I don't want to have to fish around, okay? And the ultrasonic waves go through the jam jar, put this little pin in there, and everything is good, okay? So I'm just going to set that over on that side, okay, right about there. This piece is going to go in. Take my magnet off of there. All right, and it looks like it has a piece of leather hammered onto the end. For right now, I'm just going to put it on with that, but that leather I can tell is coming apart. So I'm going to come up with a different little bumper. I know what I'm going to do right now, but you know, for right now, I'm just going to leave that in there. Put this on. I need to, of course, take it over there and plug it in. You know, let it be warming up, run it for a couple minutes, and then I'll show you what they look like when they come out. While the ultrasonic is running, it has terrible feedback with the camera. So I'm just showing you right now. I'm sticking this in a little jar with some evaporest in it, just so it can be dealing with the metal part. The wood part is sticking out. It's not going to get hurt at all. Cleaning my parts, I do wear a little dust mask just because you'll see this starts getting coated with nasties and everything. And honestly, I cough enough as it is, so, you know, there you go. Got my little mask on. Show you this. I just pulled my little jar out. You saw it was very pink water before, and just, it honestly, it's not even heated up. I just ran it for a couple minutes. You can see how nasty that water is. So I'm going to go ahead and pour off the liquid, and you can see how much cleaner these little parts are. I'm just pouring it, the liquid back into the main tank there. Put these, and they've been in there for maybe about 2 minutes. Okay. So all the big grit and stuff is off, but they're not clean. But they are definitely better. Oopsie, but they are definitely better than what they are. What this is a tiny little multi-purpose lathe. It's just a little crafty kind of lathe, but I use it for cleaning bolts. Trying to figure out how to set this up so I can see. Okay, so I've got my little bolts here, and in the chuck I can screw it in. Okay, so I want to put it so that I have enough threads in the chuck that's going to hold it securely, but not too much more, because everything that sticks out is what I can clean. Okay, so I have little sanding sponges. Around 600 grit is really a good one for me. I also got these little guys, this little guy here. Okay, I'm opposite here, so I'm trying to remember. So I just turn this on, run my sanding sponge on it. Okay, that's an older one, so if I put this new 600 grit on, that's nice. I can come up in here, and because it's a flexible sponge, it gets all over the place. Okay, put that on the tip. So then, to take it out, I just turn it, and that's what it's looking like now, which is a whole lot cleaner. You know, it's not super duper. I can put it back in and give it a really good polish. So if I put it back in, use this little guy. This is a Bob Fowler trick to keep the head of it super shiny. This one's a little bit abrasive. This is for polishing fingernails. And I want it as clean as I can get it, because the cleaner it is, the more easily the machine will turn. So there you go. That's that one little screw, and it does a great job. So, you know, highly recommend. Got it on Amazon. No, not sponsored. Yes, I did pay for it, but you know what? It's a fun little deal. And then for the threads that are still in here, I can just clean it off. Little wire wheel to get in there. If I really want to, I can chuck it back in and do the opposite way, but I think that this is going to be good. Okay, so let me go ahead and do the rest of these screws. So if you saw, this head was a little bit chowdered up, and so I use a little file, and while it's spinning I can put my very, you know, fine file up against it, and that cleans it off. And then come back with a little sanding sponge and polisher, so that's good as new now. This screw, this is for the hand crank, was painted, and so what I'm doing is I'm taking the paint off. If you can see, I got it half off. I'm just going to go ahead and put it back in. Get that other half off just so that it's shiny all the way around. Okay, there you go, shiny. And the reason I'm taking the paint off is because it wasn't in great shape, and I'd rather have no paint and shiny than half the paint being on there. Sometimes it pops out. It's because I try to put as few threads as possible in there. Okay. And then the little bitty guys, they work too. You know, we're starting out with this tiny screw. Anyway, you can see how handy this little thing is. I really love it. I'll probably stick a link in the description if you're interested. And the last one. Okay. So next, little screws are all clean, and the pin. I did the pin too. And when I put the pin in, you saw it was kind of wobbly. That's because I put the pounded in first, and it's not straight. So then when I put the not pounded end in, then it was straight. Okay, let me get this other big part out of there. I'm going to grab my magnet to reach in there and stick it out. Okay, so what do we have here? All right, let me go ahead and pull this leather off, and it looks like there's a big staple kind of pin here that's going all the way through and holding it in. I need to pull that little, I need to pull this little staple out right there that's holding that leather on. So hang on a sec, I'm gonna need to do a little more. I am just trying to push stuff out from behind this plate here. It's just a piece of rotted leather. I'm going to use rubber to replace it. Try not to hurt myself. Okay, I'm going to go and try to hammer that to pull this pin out. You can see it's kind of like a staple there, and then there's pins on the back side. Those pins are flattened, so actually I'm going to get my little grinder and grind off the heads of those pins real quick. Okay, so that's the little plate that popped off. I used my tiny little grinder wheel and my Dremel, and I'm just going to pop the rest of the staple out. Okay, so that's what that staple is looking like. And so now I need to get this cleaned up. Over here is what I'm going to be using. This has a fiber wheel here. Put my mask on. This makes a big mess. Okay, and have a fiber wheel here, polisher on that side. I need to come in here and clean out all of that stuff. Put these little pieces up here. I'm looking for my X-Acto knife, but right in here, there's all kinds of garbage. It just needs to come out. It's like hardened up grease and yuck. So I'm also going to use a little brush. I need to switch out my Dremel for a little wire wheel and get in here and clean all these little gear pieces with that. And if I left this in the ultrasonic for longer, it might have cleaned that out. I'm just going to try to get it loosened and then pop it back into that tank. Give it a little head start because it was pretty thick. And it looks like this cog here is brass, so that's nice. Very nice. Okay, I'm going to pop this back into the ultrasonic for a minute. So while the ultrasonic is running and terrible feedback, I wanted to show you, I'm just replacing my fiber wheel. The old one got worn down a lot, and it's easy to screw a new one on, much bigger. And I'm just going to be using that to clean the handle for the hand crank that has the little wooden piece, because I'm not scrubbing that in water, but it does a good job cleaning it up. Okay, so that's pretty good. So I'm going to consider these clean. Just before I put them back onto the machine, I may do a final polish. And I'm going to show you the little rubber that I'm going to put on the end of this when I'm actually reassembling it. So don't worry, that's going to be fine. But yeah, I think that this is going to be really good. So stay tuned. The reassembly is coming up soon. Mention one other thing. When I'm putting all of these back in the bag, I do put a very tiny little magnet in there with them so that they'll all stick together like a little ball, and that keeps me from losing little bitty screws in case, you know, my bag gets a hole in it or something. But so far, so good. Okay, so I am going to get started cleaning these parts from the bobbin winder. So take a good look at how nasty they are. First thing I'm going to do is get my tiny little jam jar here and put all the little springs and nuts and screws and washers that I don't want to lose in here, okay? And just fill it up with a little bit of the cleaning solution, which is 50% purple powder, 50% water. Set that whole little jar in my ultrasonic cleaner. That way, those little pieces won't get lost, and then I'm just going to toss the rest of these in on their own. Sorry, the feedback from the cleaner is very loud. That is the cleaner, just giving you a shot of my little table. Little spring, I'm just going to put it on something. I gotta get a screwdriver to put it on so I can hold it. I forgot to put my journal. The washer, just gonna hold it lightly like this. And the last thing is this little square nut. Alright, let me get the other pieces out of the cleaner. Okay, so that is it. Those are the extra parts for the bobbin winder here. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in my little baggie. Yes, as usual, I'm going to throw a magnet in there. Oopsie, hold it all together.
Okay, so I am going to get started painting. This is the next morning here. And after I pulled my machine out of the tank, just because this machine had so much rust on it to start with, I gave her a coating of evapo-rust to sit with that overnight. Now the evapo-rust, it does leave a film, so that needs to be cleaned off. So you're going to see me scrubbing these pieces, drying them off and everything, and that's to get the evapor-rust off, any residual grease, anything like that off, so that when I go to paint it, it'll be nice. So I'm working on masking the accessory pieces here first, and then I'll do the machine. I'm using a combination of masking tape, as you can see. Also, for some places, I will use a liquid latex masking, which is like glue. You just paint it on, you paint over it, and then when the paint is dry, you can peel it off. And also I use a lot of silicone plugs, and I just have a variety of them. I reuse them over and over and over again. And so that's what you're going to be watching. Once I have all these little accessory pieces done, then I'll do the actual machine.
Thank you.